All right, guys, this is the how to install the Maximum Motorsports K member. As you can see in the background there. First off, plumb bobs. So I've got two of them here. Car's on a lid because it's in the works here, but if you can see it, which you probably can't, but you fix the plumb bobs to that screw there. That's going to be the lower control arm bolt. And then over here as well. Make sure they're not touching any metal work whatsoever. And then masking tape on the ground when the plumb bob stop. You will then place a mark right in the very center. Once we mark those, we'll go to the front as well. The K member's up. My setup's a little different because I've already installed everything previously for fit and function for my motor. However, one thing cool that Maximum Motorsports did was in the instructions here, and hopefully I'm right, but if I'm not, oh well. If you can see, there's a hole on each side, itty bitty hole there, where I ran the plumb bob, both of them down there. So those are your other 2 points that you're going to be dealing with when you do your measurements. So I'm going to put tape on the ground and then going to measure everything out, reread the instructions for the 19th time again, and make sure I got everything right. All 4 dots, I just left the plumb bobs up there on the car there as I raised it up. So you can see 4 pieces of bright yellow tape there. Now, the measuring starts. This is kind of where they recommend 2 people. However, it's just me today. So at the end here, what I've done is I've created a diagram, front left, front right, right left, right rear, excuse me, rear left, rear right. So what's going to happen is that I'm going to start measuring a whole bunch of angles from one side to the other, back and forth, and then diagonally as well, to come up with my overall conclusion of where I actually need to move the K member to where it's tracking straight along with the rear end, so that way it goes straight down the road. So I'm going to put you on time lapse here. This is probably going to take me a while. Okay, so just the distance from front to back on each side. On the left side, I got 74 inches and 1/4. On the right side, I got 74 inches and 7/16. So looking at the instructions, they need to be even from back to front, obviously. So I'm gonna start unbolting on the short side, loosen up these 2 K-member bolts right here at the top, and on the long side, just the rear as they instruct. Okay, after all that's done, as you can see here, 2 measuring tapes, 2 plumb bobs, the whole gambit, I have finally come as close as possible that I can. So ended up being final measurements were 74 and 1/16, and then just a touch under 74. So they asked for a 1/16 of an inch. This is the best I could do without taking the K-member off and actually cutting it up for the most part. So next we're going to take our 4 corners, measure diagonally, and then from there, what we come from is the side to side angle for the most part. So if we have to make any adjustments, which I'm sure we will, to the K-member here, we will do that side to side and wrap it up. Okay, so after doing diagonal measurements, I end up with 82 inches from basically the right rear to the driver's left front. Yeah, so, and then I was 82 inches there. Opposite side, I was 82 and a quarter. So the K-member needs to swing over on the driver's side just a touch. So I'm gonna get C-clamps, clamp everything together so it stays forward, backward wise, legit, and then move it over. All right guys, just to recap, it's super late at night after getting off work, trying to get this buttoned up. So just to recap what we did here, we found our 2 mounting points for the plumb bob in the back. Those are going to be the lower control arm bolts, as I showed you earlier, and also the front plumb bob mounting points, which are somewhere back in here. So but as you can see here, lots of measurements happen on the floor here. So we're basically measuring front to back on both sides, making sure those are even as possible within a 1/16 of an inch. And then you do the diagonal to calculate how much you need to move the K-member to the left or to the right. So really not that hard of a job. Measure, measure, measure. Make sure you get it right the first time. I'm super anal about that because I tend to mess things up. So after this, we're gonna torque all the bolts down according to specs, and then we're done. So after this, you'll install your control arms, everything else that I have installed here as well. For the most part, your setup may be a little bit different, but at the end of the day, everything bolts up pretty easy. This is the short and easy section when I talk about how to install this, so you're not having to look through a million different videos that are 30, 40 minutes long. So pretty simple install, guys. I've got a lift. You can do it on the ground too. It's a bit more difficult, but it can be done. Lots of people have done it before. So that wraps it up on this one. Next up, we'll talk about installing the motor.